Hi, very good morning. I'm Dr. Janak Patel, MD, General Physician. Today we'll be talking on one of the very another interesting topic in endocrinology, that is female sex hormones, or we call gonadal hormones. And in that gonads, hormones of ovary. We'll be talking under heading introduction, action, regulation, disorders, investigation, and treatment part. In short, so sex hormones are the indirectly they are one variety of steroids which are released from gonads as well as in a small quantity from adrenal glands, particularly zona reticularis and fasciculator. That is, we call androgenic hormones. You can divide into two groups: androgenic hormones and estrogens. In both sexes, we have got both type of hormones. In a male, androgens and estrogens are also there, and in female, estrogens and androgens both are there. So estrogens includes natural hormones as well as semi-synthetic hormones. They are mainly utilized for replacement therapy in oncology and contraceptives. Most of the estrogen in female is produced by ovary, that is by theca interna and granulosa cells of follicles. The function of gonadal hormones in female reproductive system is formation of female gametes, that is ova, reception of a male gametes, that is spermatozoa, and it makes a suitable environment for fertilization of ovum by spermatozoa and development of resultant fetus. And also it takes part little bit in parturition. Also it takes part little bit in lactation, production of breast milk, and provides complete nutrition for the baby in internal life. This is the basic mechanism, that is ACTH will stimulate adrenal cortex, and in adrenal cortex cholesterol will be converted into aldosterone and cortisol, and then further this by dehydroxy enzymes it will be converted to dehydroxy epiandrosterone, and hydroxyprogesterone will be converted into androstenedione, that will be converted into testosterone and estradiol. So testosterone is a male hormone, estradiol is a female hormone, but they are present in both. The function of this hormone in female, we'll be talking mainly in female, that is ovary will be stimulated to have a ovulation, estrogen will take a male role, and there will be also formation of progesterone hormone. From adrenal cortex we'll have a secretion of estradiol and estriol. Gonads produces steroid hormones. Sex steroid hormone is controlled by maturation of sex organs and secondary sex characters. The sex steroids will control maturation of primary sex organs, that is we call it ovary and testis, and also it will take part in secondary sex characters. Control of sex steroidal hormone is mainly done by FSH and LH. LH will stimulate ovary and testis, and FSH will take part in further. This gonadotropic hormone is controlled by hypothalamic gonadotropic releasing hormone. So gonadotropic releasing hormone is secreted by hypothalamus, that will stimulate pituitary gland to release gonadotropes, and that gonadotropes is LH and FSH. Estrogen will include estradiol, that is the main female sex hormone, and that is mainly produced by ovary. Progesterone is a type of a hormone which is prepared. That particular hormone is also released by ovary, and that will be acting on uterus to prepare the uterus for implantation of fertilized ovum, and it promotes maintenance of pregnancy. So progesterone is necessary for fertilized ovum to be implanted and then further maintenance of pregnancy. There are other ovarian hormones also which are secreted, like inhibin. Very simple, inhi. So it inhibits FSH release. Active. So activin will activate FSH secretions. There is another third hormone we call relaxin. This particular hormone during pregnancy relaxes pubic symphysis, pelvic joints, softens and dilates uterine cervix, and facilitates delivery. There are androgens which are being produced mainly by adrenal cortex, and we call as ovarian androgens, which are responsible for acne vulgaris, libido, and pubic hair. That is, we call secondary sex characters. There is something called as a genes, which are responsible for secretion of androgens and estrogens. Estrogen activates the gene for breast growth. Androgen will activate the gene for the growth of facial hair in male. Sex hormones increases or decreases the rate of apoptosis in various regions of brain. These are the we call as the sex limited genes. The regulation of this hormone, that is particularly we call as a sex hormone, will be done by hypothalamo pituitary gonadal axis. That will be showing you in detail. Now if you see here, chemical, physical and emotional signals will stimulate what we call as a hypothalamic region. That can be serotonin or CNS organizer we call as circadian rhythm, that will stimulate hypothalamic nucleus to release gonadotropic releasing hormone. Gonadotropic releasing hormone. And that gonadotropic releasing hormone will act on a anterior pituitary and release what we call as gonadotropin, FSH and LH. LH will act on ovary and it will mature ovarian follicle, and that will produce ovulation. At that same time, there will be formation of what we call as after ovulation, there will be formation of a corpus luteum. This corpus luteum will give the release of progesterone, and this progesterone will have a negative feedback on anterior pituitary and will decrease the release of LH. That will be the action of progesterone. While FSH will stimulate ovarian follicle for development of ovum, as well as it will increase the production of estradiol. And this estradiol will have a negative feedback and will inhibit anterior pituitary to release FSH LH. Also there will be production of inhibin from ovary, which will have a negative feedback on release of FSH from anterior pituitary. And also this estradiol will act on uterus for preparation of implant of fertilized ovum, and progesterone will also act on uterus to prepare for implantation of fertilized ovum and then further development of pregnancy. So this will be the action. Gonadotropic releasing hormone will act on anterior pituitary, release FSH-LH. Of that, FSH-LH will act on ovary, and it will give rise to what we call as further action, which we already explained you on previous slide. So it will release estrogen. Estrogen will help in gene transcription, and then there will be a further action. So GnRH concentration will change with circadian rhythm. At puberty, the concentration will start rising and it will give rise to a secretion of FSH-LH. So this is control of LH secretions. So from hypothalamus, there is an hormone we call as a LH releasing hormone. This particular hormone will be acting on what we call as anterior pituitary, will release FSH-LH, or we also call these as gonadotropic releasing hormone, which will be acting on a uterus as well as ovary. FSH will be acting on ovary as well as uterus, and LH will give rise to ovary to mature and have ovulation, and there will be release of estrogen and progesterone. This estrogen will have a negative feedback at pituitary level, also will have a negative feedback at the level of hypothalamus. Same way progesterone can have a negative feedback at the level of anterior pituitary as well as at the level of hypothalamus. So progesterone will have a negative feedback at the level of hypothalamus. Now this LH will be acting on ovary, will give rise to ovulation. There will be formation of a follicle, and that follicle will secrete estradiol, and this estradiol will have a negative feedback at the level of hypothalamus, and it will inhibit the LH-RH secretions. As well as this LH will also act at the level of stromal cells and corpus luteum, and that will release progesterone, and that will have a negative feedback. And also they will release estradiol. That estradiol will also have a negative feedback, and that is how it is acting. This is control of LH. Now this is control of FSH. FSH is released from anterior pituitary. This FSH will act on granulosa cell. It will develop the follicle. There will be ovulation, release of inhibin. This inhibin will inhibit FSH secretion from anterior pituitary, as well as estradiol, which is secreted from Graafian follicle, that will also inhibit LH-RH, which will finally, there will be decreased production of FSH, and this will be during a mid-cycle what you will come across, and that is how it is regulated. We are not interested much in a prolactin, but prolactin do have a little role as far as corpus luteum is concerned. Estradiol will have stimulation of prolactin. Prolactin will be mainly acting on a breast tissue for formation of milk, and there will be also action of dopamine, somatostatin and oxytocin on prolactin release. All those will stimulate, that is TRH will stimulate, oxytocin will stimulate, but dopamine and somatostatin will inhibit prolactin release. Stress will inhibit dopamine and somatostatin. Estradiol will stimulate, and prolactin will stimulate corpus luteum formation. Hypothalamus is going to release gonadotropic releasing hormone, which will stimulate anterior pituitary, which will release FSH-LH, which will act on ovary. There will be production of estrogen and progesterone. This has got a negative feedback, and because of this negative feedback, it will inhibit at the level of anterior pituitary, release of FSH-LH, and at the level of hypothalamus, it will decrease the production of GnRH. Progesterone will also act on uterus and prepare for mature or fertilized ovum, for implantation and further development of fetus. That will be the action. So this is indirectly. But also there is estradiol, which will act on anterior pituitary. Inhibin will inhibit FSH release. Estradiol and progesterone will inhibit at the level of hypothalamus release of GnRH, and indirectly it will inhibit the production of FSH-LH. Sex hormone will have a effect, what we call as an organizing effect. It determines whether the brain and the body will develop male or female characteristics. Activating effect is at any time of the life, and temporarily it activates the particular response. Testosterone is converted into dihydrotestosterone in tissue, and it is the most active form. Testosterone is also converted into estradiol in adipose tissue by aromatase enzyme. Female gonadal function is, after ovulation there is a production of progesterone which is increased. There is a main female sex hormone we call as the estrogen in the form of estradiol, and progesterone which is formed or release is increased after ovulation. There is a very small amount of testosterone which is being synthesized by adrenal cortex. There is increasing level of sex hormone binding globulin to increase estradiol like effects. Decreasing this will increase the androgenic effects. So if there is an increase in sex hormone binding globulin, it will have more effect because it will combine more with estradiol, and decreased level will have a free androgens circulating in the blood, and because there is a free androgen circulating in the blood, now you will have an increased effect of androgens, and that will give rise to hirsutism and virilization. Main function of ovary is to produce female sex hormone in the form of estradiol, what we call as the estrogens and progesterone. So natural estrogen is estradiol, but synthetic preparations which is commonly utilized, this estradiol is prepared by ovary, by Graafian follicle, by corpus luteum, and after pregnancy, placenta. Estrogen is available in three forms. It is containing C18 steroids, estradiol, estrone, and estriol. Estriol is a degradation product of estradiol or estrone. This is a weak hormone, weak estrogen, while this is a potent estrogen. 90% of that is most potent. This is most potent, 90%. Liver will metabolize, it will conjugate with glucuronic acid and sulfuric acid and throws out in bile, and it is also excreted out in urine. So it is mainly metabolized by liver. What is the drawback? It is inactive orally when given. Rapidly metabolized by liver and has a short duration of action. Function of estrogen: reproductive action during embryonic life, prepubertal stage, puberty stage, and in adult woman. At puberty, it will stimulate ovary for ovulation. It will take part in development of fallopian tubes, uterus, cervix, vagina, and external genitals. And there will be appearance of secondary sex character, we call as a female characters. It takes part in development of ovary. It increases the size and starts the ovarian cycle. In fallopian tubes, it increases the motility of ciliated cells. and the fallopian tubes becomes functional. Uterus will increase in size, the thickness will increase, and there will be beginning of the menstrual cycle. The cervix part will also enlarge. There will be onset of menstrual cycle. There will be increase in the size of the vagina and increase in the epithelial cells in vagina. In adult woman, it will take part in maintenance of pregnancy and parturition. Also will help in breast development, secondary sex character development. Estrogen is a steroidal hormone. It is mainly secreted by ovary, that is theca interna and granulosa cells of follicle. Estrogen is a natural hormone, but also there are semi-synthetic preparations also and synthetic preparations also. Estrogen is mainly used for hormone replacement therapy and in oncology, particularly in a male breast cancer. It is also utilized as a contraceptive pills in female. It will also decrease the effect of parathyroid hormone by minimizing the loss of calcium from bones and thus helping the bone to be stronger. So we have already mentioned all the detail regarding the action of estrogen. It will act by a combining with estrogen receptor, which is estrogen alpha and estrogen beta receptors, and then it will have an action. There are other action, that is it will act on a bone. It has got also positive effect on a metabolism of protein and fat. It has got little effect on water and electrolyte balance. It has got effect on CNS, effect on vascular structure, and also effect on skin. As far as effect on bone is concerned, it will accelerate the linear growth of the bone at puberty by osteoblastic activity. It will enlarge the size of the hip bones. It will widen the inlet of the pelvic bones to facilitate the childbirth. It will maintain the balance between the bone formation and bone resorption. So estrogen plays a very important role between activity of the osteoblast and osteoclast. Directly it acts on osteoclast, having an osteoclastic activity and bone resorption. While acting on an osteoblast, it will have a bone formation. So there is a very nice balance between the osteoblastic activity and osteoclastic activity. Whenever there is an osteoblastic activity, it will reduce osteoclastic activity. And it will also have an effect on osteocytes, which will decrease the osteoapoptosis, and it will decrease the activation of bone remodeling. So this is the main action of estrogen. So estrogen is very useful for bone formation rather than bone resorption. As far as the protein metabolism is concerned, it causes positive nitrogen balance, means it is an anabolic hormones. It will have a increase in muscle mass due to the growth of promoting effects. On a fat, it will also increase the fat deposition in subcutaneous tissue, breast and thigh region. So this is the typical metabolic effect of estrogen in female mainly. It will also cause the salt and water retention in body, and it will increase premenstrual tension. As far as CNS effect is concerned, it is responsible for estrous behavior and increases libido. On vasculature, it will produce a mild vasodilatation and anti-vasoconstrictor effect. And because of this, there will be increased blood flow. Effect on skin, it makes the skin soft and more vascular. It makes sebaceous glands and secretes thin, and secretions becomes thinner. Synthetic estrogen is also used as a part of the treatment in acne because it will reduce the number of acne. Acne will be more common in a person who has got a little excess secretion of testosterone, or we call androgens. This is in general the function of estrogen and progesterone. They will take part in growth of genital structure, that is uterus, cervix, fallopian tubes, ovary. Also in secondary sexual characters. It will also take part in development of breast. Liver metabolism, it is metabolized by liver. It will also act on brain and it is neuroprotective. On a bone, anti-resorptive. Progesterone is mainly needed for maintenance of pregnancy, promotion and maintenance of implantation. So it prepares the uterus for fertilized ovum to implant and then further for maintenance of pregnancy. It will also help in lactation. It has got little amount of anti-estrogen action. It has got also anabolic action. So this is the action of estrogen as far as the sex organ is concerned, and this is secondary sex character of estrogen on sex organ responsible for pubertal changes, growth of uterus, fallopian tubes and vagina, menstruation in an anovulatory cycle. It will enhance the sperm penetration. It will also lead to atrophic changes in female reproductive tracts, and that will be done by deficiency. So if there is a deficiency of estrogen, it will lead to atrophic changes in female reproductive tracts. As far as secondary sex character is concerned, development of breast, pubic hair, axillary hair, we call secondary sex characters, and feminine body contour and behavior. So we call feminization. This already we have discussed: growth of pubic hair, increase in adipose tissue, and prepare for possibility of malignant or a pregnancy, and it will participate in pregnancy if it occurs. These are the already we have mentioned: effect on female genitalia, endocrine organs, central nervous system, breast, secondary sex characters, and also has got little amount of cholesterol lowering action. Has also got action on what we call as a vasomotor action, that is vasodilatation, skin, etc. These are the metabolic effect we already discussed: anabolic, bone mass, water and salt retention, glucose tolerance. High doses in combined oral contraceptive pills can result into diabetes. Lipid profile, lipid can be abnormal if in larger doses. Also, it will increase the blood coagulability and decreases clotting factors are induced, increase in clotting factors, fibrinolytic activity is also increased, and thus this is one of the things which is there in oral contraceptive pills. So it will increase the formation of thrombus formation. On a vascular endothelium, we already mentioned, it will promote vasodilatation. On gallbladder, there is an increased chance of gallstone formations. Hormone binding globulin, we call as a sex hormone binding globulin, if it is increased. Also it increases the thyroxine binding globulin and cortisol binding globulin. Thus the action of these hormones, that is sex hormones, thyroid hormones and cortisol level, will be reduced in blood. We already mentioned bone, edema, lipids, coagulability, gallstone formation, and globulins, that is sex hormone globulin, thyroid and cortisol binding globulins. So these are all what we already discussed. It decreases the GI motility and it increases the cholesterol in bile and thus increases the gallstone formation. Increases melanin pigmentation. Sex hormone sensitive to breast cancer, supports hormone sensitive breast cancers. Lung functions, we are not interested much. So estrogen production in male will suppress libido, gynecomastia and feminization. In children, fusion of epiphysis and reduction in a height stretches. Postmenopausal women who are on hormonal replacement therapy, there may be irregular bleeding and there is a chance of endometrial carcinoma. In an existing breast cancer, it will increase the existing breast cancer size as well as the chances of breast cancer will increase. Women under a long-term therapy will increase chance of gallstone and hepatoma. As far as comorbid condition is concerned, it will worsen migraine, epilepsy and endometriosis. In a pregnant woman, especially in the first trimester, increased level will increase the vaginal and cervical carcinoma in female offspring in a childhood and early adulthood. These are all the side effects of excess level of estrogens. We already mentioned some of those. This is the person who are taking oral contraceptive pills, chances of nausea, breast tenderness, postmenopausal uterine bleeding, thromboembolic phenomena, myocardial infarction, malignancy of breast and endometrial carcinoma. Increased risk of endometrial cancer can be reduced by including progesterone because progesterone will have an anti-estrogen action. So that can be included. So you can give a combination pill. So chances of thromboembolism, myocardial infarction, hypertension because of salt and water retention, nausea, vomiting, peripheral edema because of water retention, peripheral edema, and even migraine attack can be precipitated and person can also complain of headache. Breast tenderness, thromboembolism, all this we have already mentioned. This we have mentioned, growth, breast cancer, gallstones, suppressed libido, nausea and hypertension, migraine can be precipitated. As far as estradiol is concerned, female secondary sex characters, development, stimulation of follicular growth, development of endometrium. We already mentioned all those things. This is progesterone, has got little action against estrogen. Mainly it is taking part in menstrual cycle and for implantation of a fertilized ovum into endometrium and further development of pregnancy. It is also used as a human in female for oral contraceptive pills in combination with estrogen. And it is also used for suppression of dysmenorrhea, endometriosis, hirsutism, bleeding disorders when estrogen is contraindicated. This already we have mentioned. Hormones of corpus luteum, mainly we call as a pregnancy hormone or we call gestogen, that is mainly in the form of progesterone and that is degraded by liver and into inactive pregnenolone. Progesterone will increase the hepatic glycogen, decrease sodium reabsorption due to competition with aldosterone. It increases the body temperature. It decreases the plasma amino acids and it increases the urinary nitrogen level. These are physiological effects we already mentioned. It increases the body temperature, increases the ventilation, promotes ketogenesis, depression action, hypnotic effects on brain, develops secretory apparatus in the breast, so development of the breast, increases the glycogen level in liver and increases the secretion of aldosterone. Also, it will give rise to changes in endometrium for fertilization ovum to be implanted and further development of pregnancy. Thermogenic effect, effect on CNS, respiratory, it increases the respiration. Also, it increases the metabolism. Endometrium, pregnancy and uterus, we already mentioned, fallopian tubes, cervix, all this we have mentioned. We already mentioned this part. Adverse effect of progesterone, headache, depression, weight gain, change in libido, and when you use this particular in injectable form, it will increase the risk of osteoporosis because it will oppose the action of estrogen, which is more required for bone formation. This already we have mentioned. Ovarian hormones, these are non-steroidal hormones. These are steroidal hormone we have already mentioned. In non-steroidal hormone, inhibin, activin we already mentioned, which will stimulate FSH, and this will inhibit FSH. This we have already done before. Regulations, this is menstrual cycle regulations. This already we have discussed before. This is that regulation, physiological effects. This is that menstrual cycle, how FSH, LH level increases and decreases during menstrual cycle, an effect of estrogen and progesterone on menstrual cycle. PCOS we'll be discussing separately. Now there are basically two disorders related to ovary. We call it a primary hypogonadism, where ovary fails and there is a decreased production of estrogen and progesterone, and we call that as a hypogonadism, secondary due to hypergonadotropic hormones. Now this meaning is very simple. The ovary fails to produce estrogen and progesterone, but there is a constant production of gonadotropic, that is FSH level, FSH LH level will be normal or high because there is a normal production by hypothalamus and pituitary gland, but ovary fails. While in secondary groups, there is a failure of pituitary gland or hypothalamus to produce gonadotropes, and there is a decreased production of FSH-LH, which will give rise to hypogonadism. And that is how we say primary means failure of ovary, secondary means failure of pituitary or hypothalamus. So there will be decreased production or increased production of gonadotropes in relation to pituitary and hypothalamus. Also, you can have an increased production of estrogen, we call it hypersecretions. These are very rare, but hyposecretions will be more common, and that will be due to primary failure. But instead of hypersecretion, because of excess intake of oral contraceptive pills or because of treatment, you can end up with what we call as a hyperestrogen level, increase in estrogen level and increase in estrogen effect. So you can divide this into two groups, primary and secondary. We have already mentioned this, we have explained that particular part. So hypogonadism is very commonly because of gonadal dysfunction, polycystic ovarian syndromes, where there is an overproduction of androgens which will result into hirsutism, obesity, irregular period, infertility. While hypergonadism is very frequently because of tumor which is of granulosa theca cells, and there is a persistence of trophoblastic tissue like hydatidiform mole or malignancy, choriocarcinoma, etc. Even in case of infertility, which can be secondary due to overproduction of testosterone, elevated level of testosterone, or decreased level of serum or sex hormone binding globulins, or increased production of dehydroepiandrosterone, which can be a tumor related to adrenal gland, adrenal cortex. I am skipping over this because we will be discussing separately this particular part. Sex hormone deficiency and excess of testosterone level will produce infertility, amenorrhea, oligomenorrhea, hirsutism, virilism. This is excess of hair growth, we call it a hirsutism. So this is regarding hirsutism, we will be discussing separately. Virilization means because of excess use of male hormones supplements or because of excess production of testosterone, there will be increased androgens level in female, and that will give rise to virilization. So elevated testosterone level in female will give rise to that particular conditions. Now, as far as investigation is concerned, history, physical examination, systemic examination, examine external genitals for secondary sex characters, look for secondary sex character, examine the genitals per vaginum, and you can even undergo what we call as a per vaginum ultrasounds, hormone level assays, radiological studies, look for effect of hormones. You can go for stimulation test or inhibition test for finding out the central causes. Differential diagnosis, mainly you will have to identify primary and secondary and differentiate between hyposecretion and hypersecretions. Management is very simple. For hyposecretion, hormone replacement therapy, while for hypersecretion we call it the antagonist drugs, which will block the hypersecretion or which will block the action of that particular hormones. You can use radiotherapy, surgery for malignant tumors, and for both symptomatic therapy, and if there is any other treatment available. Therapeutic use of these hormones is mainly for menopausal symptoms, osteoporosis, in atherosclerosis as a contraceptive pills, and side effect mainly is uterine malignancy, particularly endometrial carcinoma and breast malignancy. Medical use is mainly for oral contraceptive pills, hormone replacement therapy in a menopausal woman, for hormone therapy, particularly for osteoporosis, for vaginal problems, for heart, in male breast cancer, prostatic cancer, in a male hypoestrogenism, and even it is utilized for wound healing. In a female, hormone replacement therapy, senile vaginitis, delayed puberty, dysmenorrhea, and even for acne also it is utilized. In a ovarian hypogonadism as a replacement therapy, we already mentioned the postmenopausal symptoms like atrophic vaginitis, senile vaginitis. You can utilize for osteoporosis, bone loss, it can be utilized. And also in a dysfunctional uterine bleeding. Progesterone is mainly utilized as an oral contraceptive pills along with estrogen or separate. In a hormone replacement therapy, usually in a non-hysterectomized postmenopausal woman to counteract the risk of endometrial carcinoma. It is also utilized in a dysfunctional uterine bleeding, endometriosis, premenstrual syndromes, particularly in severe dysmenorrhea, threatened abortion, endometrial carcinoma as a palliative treatment. We already mentioned all these conditions: dysmenorrhea, endometrial, infertility, oral contraceptive pills, hormone replacement therapy, premenstrual syndrome, dysfunctional endometriosis, threatened abortion, habitual abortion, postpartum lactation. To decrease the postpartum lactation means in a decreased postpartum lactation, endometrial cancer, etc. So almost I have tried to cover up as much as possible. You can go through at your leisure time. It will be helpful to you in your everyday practice as well as in your exams. So I end my lecture here on female sex hormones.